Last and final announcement, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's your name and how are you doing? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I mean, brother, how's your name and what's your name and how are you doing today? Alhamdulillah. Everybody doing okay? Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. On behalf of Islamic Center of Columbia, Masjid al-Muslimin, I'd like to welcome you all to Columbia, South Carolina, and welcome to Masjid al-Muslimin. Please make yourself at home. My name is Muhammad Saad Adli. I'm being your host today with support of the rest of the community. Brothers, sisters, boys, girls, everybody, we're glad to have you here. And inshallah, we're going to do our best to make it a nice staying until max 5 o'clock. After this, you can take a walk. I'm only joking, you know, it's okay. But anyway, inshallah, this is the CIC meeting number 000, and you know what, okay, after this, we're glad to have you here, and this is the last and the final one for this year, inshallah. We have CIC meeting been going on for the last at least 14 years, if I'm not mistaken. Alhamdulillah, we've been having 4 meetings every year, which is the Imams from North South Carolina get together and they lecturing, they speak, they discuss issues and take advice from each other and extra. One of them not to park in the far lane. And inshallah, we're going to have 3 lectures today. We have the first lecture about sacrifice in Islam, which is something very important that we need to learn about it. And hopefully we can put it in action, inshallah. As soon as we finish the lecture, we have to do some sacrifice. We have the second lecture, first lecture will be by Sheikh Yasir, inshallah, the Imam from Greensboro, North Carolina, and the second lecture will be by Sheikh Bassam Ubaid, the Imam of Charlotte Mosque, and the last and final lecture, inshallah, will be by Brother Imam Muhammad Milham, the Imam of Islamic Center of Charleston. And inshallah, we expect him to finish our activity for the day by Salat al-Asr, approximately about 4:30 or max after Salat al-Asr, which will be about 5 o'clock. We have 3 lectures, we have 2 meals, and we have 1 snack. All this will come to number 4 again, okay? You know, number 4, this always has to be the top, all right? So, without delay or anything, we're going to start, inshallah, with our first lecture with Imam Yasir. We thank you for making the sacrifice. His lecture was supposed to be number 3, but due to the Sheikh Muhammad Milham, they didn't show up. Oh, mashallah, we have new faces here also, new Imams, everything almost new today. Brother Yasir, welcome to Columbia. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. May Allah make it easy on you, inshallah. Enjoy your lecture. Please, if I can be any assistant, call in me or anyone who has this sign on their vest to say help, can I help you, or whatever it is, okay? You will know them. We have some on the brother's side and some on the sister's side. And you can read my sign. Can you see it? Can I help you? Please ask me whatever I can do. Thank you, Sheikh.
إن الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. ويقول الله تعالى يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. ويقول الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. الإخوة والأخوات في الله عز وجل, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we thank Allah, alhamdulillah, the one who gathered us here in this Masjid al-Muslimin. MashaAllah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to gather all of us inshallah in the Jannah, mustaqarru rahmatihi wa dar karamatihi. This is blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jal. And the glad tidings inshallah for everybody who's here. The hadith Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu fi Sahih Muslim, that the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentioned the hadith, قال من غدا إلى المسجد أو راح أعد الله له في الجنة نزلا كلما غدا أو راح. Anybody who comes to the masjid either in the morning or at the evening, during any time during the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will prepare for him nuzul. The nuzul will you prepare for your guest, the hospitality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will prepare for the people in the Jannah who come to his house, the masjid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there is hadith also, is a very alhamdulillah beautiful hadith in the meaning, has been recorded by Shaykh al-Albani as hadith Hasan al-Tabarani, that the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned the hadith that anybody, he went to the masjid or he goes to the masjid and his intention is to teach or to learn. لا يروح إلا لعلم يتعلمه أو يعلمه. His intention, coming to the masjid, either to teach or to learn, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward him as the reward of Hajj. وله كأجر يعني حاج تامة حجته. His Hajj is complete and perfect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is coming to the masjid for two reasons, either to learn or to teach. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you by this reward, which is the Hajj, complete Hajj. Still, you have to make the Hajj also, right? But this is a very great reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is special only for the masjid, not to going to the college or to school or to any place but one of the houses of Allah azza wa jal. So this is good news inshallah for us that we've been here, alhamdulillah, we come here to the masjid to learn, and everybody here inshallah, including myself, is learning. And the topic inshallah that we will discuss this morning inshallah about the sacrifices in Islam. And this topic is very great in terms of everything that we do in our life to support this deen of Allah azza wa jal is sacrifices. And subhanallah, the sacrifices has a very strong connection with not only Islam, any religion. Anybody who worship anything, they're making some kind of sacrifices. Even those people who are worshipping stones and idols, and even their religion is false. But subhanallah, if you go back at the time of the Jahiliyyah, before Islam, you find those people that offering sacrifices to their gods or their idols or whatever they worship, because this is what you give up or you give away for the sake of Allah azza wa jal. This is in Islam. But anything that you honor or you worship or you take it as an object of your worship, then it's considered as what you offer is considered as sacrifices. So I think we define it first inshallah before we proceed. So sacrifice is when you give away or when you offer animal or a plant or human life or any kind of material in your possession to a deity as an act of worship. This is what the sacrifice. Anything that you give away, you give money, you give food, you give anything that's so precious to you, so dear to you, you give it away as an act of worship. This is considered as sacrifices general. And all of the sacrifice have to be done for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla, the intention. Because إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, everything that we do have to be for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And that one Allah made haram on any animal, for example, that has been slaughtered for other than Allah Azza wa Jalla. وَمَا ذُبِحَ عَلَى النُّصُبِ. When people at the time of the Jahiliyyah, they come to their gods and they slaughter their sheep or their animal for for those gods, it is considered haram, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala indicated in Surah Al-Ma'idah. But in Islam, again, this topic is really important because we are in a time today where everything changed, unfortunately. And nothing left in Islam other than maybe the name or what in the textbook. But people could hardly sacrifice anything for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, including the areas that inshallah we'll cover in this lecture, inshallah, but the areas of the sacrifices. That most important thing that we can sacrifice for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal is our life, our own life. We sacrifice for Allah Azza wa Jal, and our money, whatever we have, and our time. Those three areas are so important in the deen. And if you go back and study the life of the Prophet ﷺ, the seerah, which is the best example for all of us, is full of sacrifices from the Prophet ﷺ and the companions. And I'll mention an example of just al-hijrah, the migration of the Prophet ﷺ from Mecca to Medina. Look at how many sacrifices that had been given away for the deen, for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Starting from Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu ta'ala anhu. When the Prophet ﷺ was a young man, but the Prophet asked him to sleep in his bed, right? So to deceive the disbelievers, the kafirs, that the one was sleeping in the bed of the Prophet ﷺ himself. So this is an example that Ali ibn Abi Talib is offering himself. He could be killed, could be tortured, could be suffer, but he chose to make this great sacrifice for the deen, to stay in danger in the bed of the Prophet ﷺ. Two daughters of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Asma and Aisha, when they've been interrogated by the kafirs about the whereabouts of their father, Abu Bakr Siddiq or the Prophet ﷺ, also they kept the secret of the Prophet ﷺ. They did not disclose it to the disbelievers. And they suffered also, they tortured, and they've been slapped, as we know, Asma radiallahu ta'ala anha. But regardless, also she kept the secret of Abu Bakr Siddiq, even she knew or she knows what he left, but instead also she chose not to, for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Abu Bakr Siddiq himself, he took all this journey and all of the risk that face him to protect the Prophet ﷺ. When he went inside the cave, he went first to check if anything that could harm the Prophet ﷺ, any snake or anything that inside. He went, he searched and everything and cleaned it for the Prophet ﷺ, that the Prophet ﷺ came out. SubhanAllah, just one incident, you find it is really full of story, full of wisdom and lessons out of how the companions of the Prophet ﷺ gave up their life. They left their houses, their families, women and children in Mecca, and they went to Medina out of the hijrah, giving everything away for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. They sacrificed everything for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. And Allah mentioned them and praised them in the ayah al-fuqara al-muhajirin alladhina ukhriju min diyarihim wa amwalihim. They've been expelled out of their houses, not for any reason, just because they say La ilaha illallah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned them, يَبْتَغُونَ فَضْلًا مِنَ اللَّهِ وَرِضْوَانًا. That's the one that they seeking, the fadl, the favor of Allah Azza wa Jal, and to please Allah Azza wa Jal. That's the only reason they made this sacrifice, is they left everything behind in Mecca. يَبْتَغُونَ فَضْلًا مِنَ اللَّهِ وَرِضْوَانًا وَيَنصُرُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Right, to support this deen. They offer it to support the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. And just compare that to our time, when we are so attached to this dunya, and we don't want to give away anything. And this was the difficult time that I mentioned in the Islam. It's completely different generations. If you compare our generation and the generation of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and what they did for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, really, there is a big difference. Because for us, we should, and especially living in this country, we have to sacrifice many things for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, to support this deen. They went to Medina to support the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, and they lived a kind of life that they don't have anything. Some of them, many poor companions, they live in the masjid. They don't have any place to go. Even they are very rich back there in Mecca. And this example also that Suhaib, Ibn Sinan, Aba Yahya, that when he took that journey to Medina, he's very rich in Mecca. So he went, and when he was like outside Mecca, okay, those disbelievers, the Kafirs, they went after him, and the severe maybe of Mecca, they got him on that place in Mecca, and they told him that, you know, you came very poor to Mecca and you don't have anything, and you make all this money in Mecca here. So, like, you know, either that's what he mentioned to them. He said, you know, I'm very a strong fighter. You know, I can shoot maybe most of you. However, I can give you an offer, like sacrifices. You know, you can take my money in Mecca, take everything, and leave me alone. Take everything, my money, my houses, my land, and everything in Mecca. Take it. But just let me go to Medina. Otherwise, I have to fight you to death. And what happened? He gave that away for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. When he arrived in Medina, the Prophet ﷺ, when he saw him, قال ربح البيع أبا يحيى. Your trade with Allah Azza wa Jal has gained and bring profit for you. Giving everything away for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Your money, subhanAllah, look at many situations right now for us that we so attached, we want to give anything away for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Like just this example, we want to leave to another place, or we want to travel to seek knowledge. Then we are again attached to the dunya, and we favor this dunya over what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. And this sacrifice really have to come from a very strong belief and faith in the reward of Allah Azza wa Jal. If you don't believe there is a reward in the Day of Judgment, you will not make sacrifices, because this is something that you'll not see right now. You give those things away, but you'll not see it right now. It's a reward in the Day of Judgment. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned and praised those people that الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. Allah praised those people who believe in the unseen. And part of the unseen is the reward itself, that everybody is making the sacrifices for. The unseen that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran. And this is also in Bukhari and Muslim. That's happened also, and we can mention different examples about how the sacrifices has been made in Islam. It's not only by men, women, and even children. They make sacrifices in Islam. Abdurrahman ibn Auf in the Battle of Badr, one time he mentioned this story. He said, I was standing on the lines, but we are ready to fight. And all of a sudden that there's two young boys, that is the age, they are young in their age, boys from Medina. They came to me and asked me about Abu Jahl. They said, what is Abu Jahl? Because they live in Medina, they never see Abu Jahl. They didn't see Abu Jahl, but they heard about him. And he asked them, he said, what do you need Abu Jahl for? He said, because we heard that he is cursing the Prophet ﷺ. And our goal is to kill him because of what he did to the Prophet ﷺ, and he posed the message, and also he cursed the Prophet ﷺ. And one of them, he said, والله لئن رأيته لا يفارق سواده حتى يموت الأعجل منه. This is a young boy saying that to Abdurrahman ibn Auf. I'm looking for him, he said. If I see him, I'm not gonna do anything other than go and punish him or kill him for what he said about the Prophet ﷺ. And all of a sudden, the other one on his left also stated very similar statement. Then Abdurrahman ibn Auf, he said, when the people they passing, when Abu Jahl passing by, he said, this is your friend, this is the guy that you're looking for. And as mentioned, both of them, they chased him and they killed him. Abu Jahl, this is the leader of the Quraysh, but he's considered as one of the head of the Kufr. They came to the Prophet ﷺ, and they mentioned to him that they killed Abu Jahl, and everybody claiming that he killed Abu Jahl. And the Prophet ﷺ, to please them, he said, did you wipe out your sword after you killed him? They said, no. Then the Prophet ﷺ looked at the sword and he saw the blood in him, and he said that both of you killed him just to please each one of them. This is children that's taking revenge for the Prophet ﷺ. And another story also has been mentioned, the brother of, what's his name, the brother of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, Umayr. Umayr, he was only 16 years old in Battle of Badr. And the Prophet ﷺ, because he's so young, he turned him away from the fight because he's very young. What he did, he started crying out of begging the Prophet ﷺ to allow him so he can join the battle. That was Battle of Badr. And the Prophet ﷺ looked at him, even he's very young, he allowed him, and he was died as a shaheed in that battle, 16 years old. This deen is full of sacrifices from all kind of age. And people living here, and because of real what happened and every war and terror and anything like that, we cannot even speak about jihad. It's considered maybe as prohibited, or considered as something, but this is part of our deen. I mean, jihad is part of our deen. Now, we speak about jihad in the term of the Sharia. There is now limits and restrictions based on what you fight, when you fight, who you fight, and those kind of rules and guidelines. But this is part of our deen. We should not be ashamed of talking about it. This is our history, our legacy, and the Prophet ﷺ and the companions. Let's go also to the sacrifice. This is the sacrifice of life. They give their life away. Each and every battle, from Badr to Uhud to Al-Ahzab to Tabuk, in each one of them, rich examples on how the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, they defend this deen. And that's why really, when you go to Hifz al-Daruriyat al-Khams, the 5 necessities that we have to keep, safeguard the deen, safeguard the religion, right? Safeguard the soul and the honor and the money and the mind. But the deen itself, Hifz al-Deen, you give everything to protect the deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال وقاتلوهم حتى لا تكون فتنة. لا تكون فتنة ويكون الدين كله لله. Fight them until there is no any fitna in the deen. And for the religion to be for Allah Azza wa Jal. There is no any fitna. And all of the religion to be for Allah Azza wa Jal. So the fitna, as Imam Ibn Kathir has mentioned, قال يعني الشرك والبدعة. This is the shirk that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned. Ibn Jarir الطبري also in التفسير قال حتى لا تكون فتنة أي حتى لا يكون شرك بالله عز وجل ولا يعبد غير الله عز وجل. And Allah mentioned fight them until there is no fitna. Fitna is the shirk, as Ibn Jarir al-Tabari explained, and this ayah in Surah Al-Anfal, chapter 39. And he said the fitna here is no deed is to be worshipped beside Allah Azza wa Jal. People start worshipping idols and they worship Allah Azza wa Jal. So you give everything for the deen. Even you give your life for the deen. If you are about to be killed, to choose other religion other than Islam, you give your life away. When you do the jihad for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, again, you give everything. You sacrifice yourself to protect the deen and protect the monotheism and the tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal. Then the sacrifices in the wealth, on the money. Look at, subhanAllah, in the companions, and in the example that we mentioned, how they give away their wealth and their money. And subhanAllah, many of them, they used to be like business owners. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar ibn Khattab, Rahman ibn Auf, and many of them. But if you compare their life in Mecca and what's happened in Medina, they are very poor in Medina. Where did that money go? Where did that money went? They spend it for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. And we know in this, the Battle of Tabuk, that when Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he came and he gave everything for the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Even Umar ibn Khattab, he went to compete in this incident with Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. He said, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, every time he's ahead of me. This is my chance. I want to be in ahead of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. What Umar did? Umar brought half of his money to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, half, which is 50%, for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Then all of a sudden, when Abu Bakr as-Siddiq came, he gave everything for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he asked Abu Bakr Umar, he said, what do you left for your family? He said, I left half of my wealth. When Abu Bakr as-Siddiq came with everything, he said, what do you left for your family? He said, I left them Allah and His Messenger. Everything for Allah and His Messenger. Everything he gave away for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. And that's why Umar ibn Khattab, he said, after today, I'm not going to compete with Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. Everything for the sake of Allah. This is the ultimate example, really, for us here. And this story should not just pass يعني with us as stories, and we just like entertain ourselves and mashallah and we smile and everything. No, this is an example for us to follow. Like the da'wah in this country that need money, need wealth. Just like at the time of Mecca and Medina, those masajid that you pray in them, they need support. So when you sacrifice your money for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla, your salary or part of what you do in any fundraiser, in anything like that, this is you are following the footsteps of the companions of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, in anything that this masajid need. And when people they ask for fund or for any help, they're not asking yani, for themselves, that money to go to anybody. It is for the deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla, to support this deen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed us those examples because the deen, if Allah wants this deen to spread without any need of the people's support, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can. Allah can yani, provide for the Muslims all kind of means, all kind of support. Money can come in from different sources, different ways. This is training for the companions and for us examples to follow. That throughout history, wealth or money or financial support as one of the most important element also in this deen, giving da'wah, helping out the poor people and the Muslims. And subhanAllah, away from that, look at the Islam, as I mentioned, all of the sacrifices, all of the ibadat. Look at the salah. I mean, when you come to pray, what do you sacrifice? Your time, could be your job. When you come to Jum'ah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمْعَةِ فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. When the adhan is called for the Jum'ah, then leave everything and come to the call of, answer the call of Allah Azza wa Jalla. فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. Leave the business and the trade. And the business has been mentioned here just because this is most of the people what they do. Otherwise, you leave everything away and come to the Jum'ah. So now you're sacrificing your job or that hour. And most of the people work in restaurants and pizza places and those, they said the time of the Jum'ah is the most busy time for them. Very busy. It's our lunch time during the Jum'ah. So unfortunately, many, few, let's say few, they choose, they favor the money that they make in this 1 hour over coming to the Jum'ah. It's a command from Allah Azza wa Jalla. There's no barakah. And the money what they're earning is haram. After the adhan, it's called the Jum'ah. Anything that you do is haram. Business, trading, except for women, of course. But this is a salah, sacrifice. You leave everything and you come. And subhanAllah, like I mentioned, really this story is happening in my country. It's happening in Sudan. This old man that I know, he's about 80 years old. And usually calling the adhan, is mashallah calling the adhan in the masjid 5 times a day and living across the street from the masjid. So this man, when his family and the customs in Sudan, tradition, people, they eat together. You know, all of the family, sometimes the neighbors, you know, they come to one place and they eat together. So it's around maybe Asr time. People, they have the food ready and everything. And they are about, mashallah, to start eating. And they asking this old man, he's 80 years old, to join them. And he said, no, I'm going to call the adhan first. I'm going to call the adhan and come back. They said, if you come back, you might not find anything. It's better for you not to eat now. So he insists on going calling the adhan. Subhanallah. On his way to the masjid, and he lived across the street from the masjid, on his way to the masjid, a car came from other side, subhanallah, and crushed the man on the street. He died. He died. He did not get his lunch, but he got, subhanallah, all the reward from Allah. This is a good ending. His intention, and he sacrificed that food. That's food. Sometimes, just because of a cup of tea, we have a tea or we have a snack, something like that, and the adhan is called, it's time for the salah, or because somebody's watching a movie or watching a game, or something on TV or a show, then he, put the priority on that over the salah, over coming to the salah. So this is the salah. Fasting, you sacrifice your food, your desires, your need, for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, to complete your fasting. This is ibadah. Zakah, you give your money away for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Hajj, look at the Hajj, this ibadah, that we are in a, mashallah, very, among the wealthiest maybe country in the world, US. And many Muslims that are well off, alhamdulillah, the money for Hajj maybe for them is nothing, but the people, they did not see the value of the Hajj. Few people, they make it to the Hajj every time or every year, and they can. This is sacrifice that you give $8,000 could be, or 4,000 or any, and money, for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. You leave your business, you leave your house, you leave your family, your children, and you travel to Hajj because you believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned also, وَأَذِّنْ فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا. This is the Hajj is mandatory. وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنْ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. Something that you should do. But you have to see really the value of this. Out of faith, out of the iman that you have in your heart, you give all this away for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal and make this journey